This conference will now be recorded.
Gosh darn it.
You still had time to fit a few swear words in.
Copy of the zoning code.
With
Just
me.
bring a copy of the zoning code.
It's not with me.
I'm gonna do it. So it's-
Is there one?
Or my office.
I have.
You've got one?
I do want to address this, actually. I am not prepared to tonight.
Oh, yeah, right.
The batteries.
Well,
Yep,
there was
that's what I'm gonna do.
a lot more.
Actually, I think we should do something.
I like that dress.
Yeah, we can talk about like.
I think I can do that something.
So areas.
It's so comfy too. It looks it. Switch to the other side. She's cheap sometimes.
And so. Configurations to improve that purpose. What's that thought?
We're gonna work for it.
Down.
Oh, I think I'll do the announcements and reports, and those hopefully should be brief discussions first, and then give the floor to Glenn, because no, never mind, I had it organized correctly. I will. Stand corrected. Because I just want to roll from his presentation into the.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you all for coming. Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have a guest at the start of our agenda. Glenn, you are the guest.
Oh, thank you very much.
Would you like to make a presentation?
Yeah, just briefly, but I wanted to cover 2 points. One was about Bike Fest, and then the other was about the Tool Drive fundraiser. And actually, a town resident, Matt McNamara, would like to talk about the festival itself. So,
You guys okay with that?
Yes.
Okay.
I am.
Well, I came over sort of impromptu. I live right over here. And I've been involved with organizing around all things trails and bike related since around 2009-10 when we raised funds and got the dirt jumps built over there. And ever since that time, we've had some iteration of the festival in town. And it's moved in different weekends. You know, it was in the spring for a while, and then we had some Leadville race that tracked with it, and then we moved over to the format, which I think we all know most recently, really coordinating closely with the town, using the ball field and with the parks folks, and really providing a wonderful opportunity for not only locals, but a lot of visitors who were coming from all over the Northeast and Canada. It was a small festival. It was really something that was a labor of love, really volunteer driven, and a way for not only people to experience the town, but also to engage with our locals that love the trail so much. It did raise some money for Beta over the years, and the town deserves a real big thank you for making that possible, because that's hard. That's not an easy lift. I get it. There's a lot of good causes, and so having a partner that you can work with like that, it really means a lot, particularly to the organization, but I think also just for the town in general, because I think when the people that live here that volunteer all their time out in the woods helping to make the trails good, and they see the town behind it, they feel good about it. They really do. And so the message I wanted to send, it's not. It's really not the end, I think, is important here. There are a lot of things out of our hands this year as it relates to offering this kind of experience. Other festivals nearby, like, our capacity for volunteers, which is always a challenge in small communities, and just being really realistic about it, we took all those things into consideration and we just said, you know what, let's take a pause. And so that's what it is. We're going to step back, and I think we're going to obviously keep the energy going as far as, you know, our attention to the trails and, you know, and just keeping people engaged and getting out. And so that's what I wanted to share with you all today. Was first off, thank you. But second off, you're not yet covered us yet. So I guess with that, I'll ask you all, do you have any questions for me and sort of?
You know, I'll start by saying thank you. Thank you all. It's been great what you all have done in Wilmington with building and maintaining the trails. So it's not lost on me. I'm sure it's not lost on any of us. And I was genuinely disappointed. I like that event. And I was genuinely disappointed to see that it is being, I guess, hopefully postponed this year. I know there's some competing events that have a big draw right around the same time. Would you like to get into that at all? I think that was a major reason.
Yeah, I think that was contributing, but I think there's also the big event that is significant is that there is a international event called Crankworks that is happening up in Mont Saint Anne, outside Quebec City. And that will pull all of our Canadian audience to that same event, which is Labor Day weekend. And they have typically been about 30% of the guests that come and have been staying, camping at the ball field, doing the group rides. So that's a pretty big hit right there when you can sort of like expect that to just get carved right off the top. Otherwise, there are other things going on. But really, you know, there's also this sort of like, I think, need to step back. You know, I think for us, for the people organizing, like we want it to be an exciting, fun event. And if there's a feeling like, oh, we're getting stretched here, we don't want that to be reflected. Like it's better to just say, step back, give it some time, you know, and then come back when we're ready. So that's part of it too. And we're really honest about that. Like we're really clear that, you know, we have so many hands and the organizing is a lift along with the other things, you know, that go into making it possible. I always loved making an enormous fire in the ballpark and freaking people out, which to be honest, that was a lot of fun for me. I'm sure you'll get less stress this year because you won't have that, you know, unless John wants to just let me do it for fun. You know, okay, thanks. But anyway, so I would have anything else to add.
Have you guys thought about going to an every other year calendar?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sure you have a lot of things in the
and I
works.
think we'll keep that discussion going.
Okay.
Just so we can, you know, we want it to be sustainable,
Mhm.
and whatever that looks like, we'll
Figure it
figure
out.
something out.
Cool.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I want to echo that. First, thank you very much to the town for the support of the event over the years. It's been much appreciated. And particularly to the residents, especially those who came out and enjoyed the concert and Matt's large
I
bonfire.
can't take all the responsibility.
But yeah, it's been great and we very much appreciate that. And I want to just transition to briefly talk about Barkeeter Trails Alliance's fundraiser that we are in the middle of at the moment for tools.
Glenn, can you also just provide a high-level overview for anyone who doesn't know about what Beta is and its role in Wilmington over the past?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there are people, these videos get 100 views generally at least, so there's going to be people who don't know what any of this is.
Okay.
So.
I want to stand in folks' way. So Barkeeter Trails Alliance is a ski touring and mountain bike organization in the region. We do trail work on 130 miles of trail from Saranac Lake to Elizabethtown, 5 towns, and our ski trail extends from Keene Valley. Our sort of iconic ski trail extends from Keene Valley to Paul Smith's, that's the Jackrabbit Trail. We are, actually, this is our 40th year. We started in 1986 at the Adirondack Ski Touring Council. Now, Bark Eater Trails Alliance was a merger between those two organizations. Matt would know a lot more about the local history of the trail development here in Wilmington, but the short version is that the folks responsible for creating Bark Eater Trails Alliance saw that there was very little trail across the entire region for mountain biking, and took the initiative to work with local governments, work with DEC, and develop trails for folks to recreate on. The vast majority of the trails that we work on are not exclusively for bikes or exclusively for skiing. They are multi-use trails in most places. Most of the ones here, I think the only one I can think of that's an exception is Flobus on the Adirondack Land Trust property, Three Sisters property. There is one trail there which is fairly high speed going downhill, so we asked that one folks don't walk on. But otherwise, everything else that we work on here is multi-use. And we have not done a tool drive in many years. We've not asked or spent much money on tools for many, many years. We built a 66-foot log stringer bridge this past October. And in order to do that, we were actually borrowing tools from contractors in order to do the work, because Beta didn't have enough tools to try to build this bridge ourselves. So that really highlighted for us the fact that we are, one, wearing out our trail crews and our volunteers, and two, shouldn't be borrowing tools in order to build some basic types of things like bridges. What I've shown you right there is something that we've never had before. That's what's called a power toter, essentially a tracked wheelbarrow with an 1,100-pound capacity, and showing the alternative, which is the current way we do it. There's the 5-gallon buckets next to it, and that's how we move material right now, either 5-gallon buckets or canvas haul bags, typically weighing 30 pounds with material in it. We want to extend the health and life of our trail crew and our volunteers, and this is an important part in how we're going to do that. Our fund drive that we're doing right now is $8,500 worth of tools. This particular unit is a $3,500 purchase. We're $2,000 short of hitting our target. And so what I would like to ask is if the town would contribute that remaining amount that we have outstanding, the $2,000 from your bed tax, and help us put this to use. We work on with our tools. We work on many miles of trails across Wilmington, Hardy Road, the Flume, Three Sisters, the connector from the park over to Three Sisters. A lot of different areas that we work on here. So, any questions?
You know, I did get a question from a community member. That's a good question. You know, bed tax money, something like the high 80%, almost 90% is generated in North Elba. So the bed tax money they have to distribute dwarfs every other town. So I just like to suggest that if you haven't already, you ask, the next time you need grants, consider asking North Elba as well.
Yeah, we were just awarded, not
Okay.
for tools, but for other, we were just awarded $14,000 from North Elba.
Well, there you have it.
Yeah.
Yep. That's our budget for the year.
Right.
Other questions? In the resolution I wrote, you have what you call, you know, I could be wrong about this. Do you have what you call work parties? Or
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we have volunteer-led or some staff-led volunteer work parties, and then also volunteers who organize themselves. But yeah, we do have staff-led volunteer work parties. We have an employee who is the stewardship coordinator, who that's his job is to organize volunteer work parties across the region. And when we do that, one of the things that is really helpful is to be able to provide some barbecue food for folks and some soft drinks and things like that. So we get higher turnout for say a 3-hour after work party if we can tell folks we're going to do some hamburgers or hot dogs and have some soda.
Does the town contribute or compensate Beta in any other way? Like at all?
In-kind services for the, they do get some labor from the Parks Department for the
Okay,
Bike Fest.
Okay.
The town gave Beta, what, 2,500 or 2,000 several years ago. Might have been 2020 or 2021.
Okay.
I don't think this was really a Beta thing, but the poor man's downhill shuttle, is that a Beta thing or just a mountain biking thing generally?
Maybe help you with that.
Yeah, please.
So the town, when there was some grant funding available through a public health funding stream, you were able to purchase a trailer to facilitate this opportunity for people to shovel the downhill, the snowmobile trail. And
From Marble Mountain Ski Lodge to Upper Creek.
yeah, yep. So that was coordinated through, originally it was through public health, and then the town was offering up services through staffing, and there was a nominal fee for people who do it. And like a lot of things, it sort of did this, it was popular, and then it became less so. And I think they finally decided, maybe we need to step back from that. The opportunities to ride around the area also were expanding, and so I think that contributed to lesser numbers of people doing that particular thing. But that was a contribution for sure that the town was making. It was significant, just given the using of the staffing trucks and helping people get up the hill. And the fee for it was like $5 a person. It was a very accessible fee, which was nice. And I think was in full sort of recognition of the name Poor Man's Downhill in its own way. So it's still there, but and I think we still have the trailer. Might use some fires.
Correct me if I'm wrong, at one time it was like one day a week through a few months, and then ultimately it was just during the Bike Fest. Is that right? Or
So the schedule at one point was going through the summer, and it was going on like a bi-weekly basis.
It started every other.
Yeah, and then I think it sort of petered out, and then it went to just the Bike Festival.
Went to Wilmington.
Yeah.
The Burnt Hot Fest.
Yeah. So,
I know that the town has, over the decades, definitely contributed labor and all kinds of effort and time. Both Jeannie Ashworth and Randy Preston really tried and focused on expanding the trail network in Wilmington. So the town has definitely helped out, but as far as direct cash contributions, I think the only one I'm aware of is the 2,500 from
a couple
20,
years ago, I think.
something like that, yeah.
2020. Okay. I mean, if I can just
Please,
really quickly,
yes.
I'll try and be quick. I know there's a big push in the sport world with how things are changing, that mountain biking is anticipated to become far more popular, sort of in a complementary way to skiing as well. So I think it would go a long way to help support our mountain biking infrastructure here in terms of attracting events and business and whatnot. I also think this would be a really great way for us to support an organization who helps to maintain that infrastructure. So even if we couldn't give the full amount that they're looking for, I think it would be beneficial.
Thanks. I was thinking I believe we just allocated 2,800 to redo the tennis court, and in my whole life, I'm not sure if I've seen 12 people use that tennis court. It's growing up, it didn't get a lot of use at all. I don't know how much more use it gets nowadays. I know that these trails do get a lot of use.
A lot.
Not only from mountain bikers.
Yeah.
So I think it would be positive to award the full amount, but I'm open to other numbers, but
I would support the full amount.
other questions, thoughts, ideas?
Anytime I go past the Hardy Road trails during the summer, it's always busy. I mean, it's a good thing. I think it deserves the town support, definitely.
Oh, great, thank you. And as far as the work party, how much, if we wanted to sponsor one in Wilmington, what would be a reasonable amount to allocate?
$125 would be great.
That doesn't shock my conscience. Hannah, would you like to
Mhm.
make a motion on this on the first resolution? Is
Yeah, I'm happy to. I'll make it.
there a second?
And I'll second.
Okay, discussion? Further discussion? So I guess, well, we need to resolve, I guess we need to make sure it's, it's going to be 2,000 for the
Howard Toder.
excuse me? I'm being reminded of the formal process we need to go through. Okay, so the title of this resolution is a resolution authorizing the expenditure of occupancy tax CTE funds to support the Barkeeter Trails Alliance's ongoing trail work in Wilmington. And I think we'll put in 2,000 for the first blank and 125 for the second. Hannah and Randy, since you're the one who made the motion and seconded it, is you on board with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Can I ask one question? The trail that you referenced at the Three Sisters, I think could be marked better for only like downhill traffic.
Okay.
I got, so to speak, caught with my pants down, by a biker coming down. I wasn't paying it, it was my first time going up it and it was, anyway, so possibly it's marked better, but I wasn't paying attention. I think if it truly is meant for only downhill traffic, there should be a larger sign.
Okay, I'll check.
Just
I'll check and see what's
Yeah.
there and make sure it's well.
I enjoy all the trails and I'm totally in favor of this, so.
Pat, I'm glad you're here, and this is only tangentially related to this resolution, but it is related to mountain biking and trails. You have a trail that crosses your property that there's nothing in writing for, is that correct? And you
Yeah, it's
asked,
called Noreen's Trail, and there's a sign pointing down, right where our property line is. And
Okay.
I don't mind people using it, but I don't want to be liable if somebody gets hurt.
can you work with Pat to clear this up? And-
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. Thanks. You've been bringing this up for a few years at this point. Karen, do you have any questions or concerns?
Is that, Pat, is that the thing that I said is the right of way? Between your, no, it's not the right of way. But is that the place where it goes into my property and crosses your road and goes up? There, but the property line is,
We can
Come off it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, there's a bridge
Yeah.
that goes over the drainage right there. As in you look- I guess I have to look and see.
I could bring up their map and show you.
Okay, I know the lines with some of the subdivisions and stuff. going
Yeah.
on.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. Further discussion? Okay, roll call vote.
Hannah?
yes,
Darren?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Laura,
Yes,
Randy,
Yes.
all in favor? Carrie.
Okay,
Thank you, guys.
thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
well, now we're at announcements and reports. So, John, do you have anything you'd like to announce or report? Okay. Nicole, do you have anything you'd like? You're at the end of the agenda, but, okay. Dawn,
No, nothing.
Hannah.
I'm good tonight.
Laura.
Nope.
Holy moly. Okay. I have a lot. I'll start with something repetitive from the previous meeting. Hopefully I have in my notebook. My backpack, laptop today. No, I'll have to skip it, but I have already announced it. Just from memory, there's a Lake Placid School budget hearing here at 5 on May 5th. Then there's a planning board meeting scheduled for the same day at 6. And they're not sure that the budget hearing will only take an hour, so I'm going to ask that they start the planning board meeting at 7. There's a scheduling conflict, possible scheduling conflict, depending on how long the hearing lasts. The assessors are holding walk-in office hours in May, and that information is posted around town. And if anyone would like it, just ask any member of the board. It's also on the town website, which reminds me of the resolutions.
Yep.
Okay. For anyone watching at home or watching later on, the resolutions are, we're discussing tonight, the resolutions are posted on the town website. Which my next point is, I've never announced that I have been writing town newsletters, and those are also posted on the town website, town@wilmington.org. The Wilmington Youth Fishing Derby is on, I believe it's May 16th, at Stevens Pond. Registration starts at 9. Fishing Derby starts at 10. Dredging. I had a good meeting with the Essex County Office of Community Resources, which is the office that does planning, comprehensive plans, zoning code amendments. They help with, and they also help with grant applications. And they told me, we talked about this somewhat at the last meeting, because I had a meeting with the Osable River Freshwater Association or Center about these topics. And my big takeaway from both of these meetings with the Office of Community Resources, they told me, obviously Randy Preston, for anyone who doesn't know, really tried to dredge the river. Like it was something he cared about and tried to accomplish. And Anna Reynolds told me at the Office of Community Resources, she said he applied for so many grants. He really tried, and he is someone who accomplished things and did get a lot of grants. And when he put his mind to things, he accomplished a heck of a lot for the town. And the message basically from both Osable Freshwater Center and Office of Community Resources is, you're not going to get grants for this. If you want to do this, you're on your own. We have to do this on our own. The state's not interested in funding it. The green groups are not in favor of it. It's a Democratic state. It's a big, interest group for the Democratic Party. And they're not, whether or not they come right out and say it, this will not be supported by the state. So if we're going to do it, we have to do it. The only glimmer of silver lining of positive news is that the Freshwater Center did say, if you do it, there will be no negative environmental impact. And if you do it, we will help you do it. We will help you with the permitting. We will help you so that you do it right, because they want to see us do it right. So, I think I am in full agreement with what Roy said a few years ago, which is what we really should do is try to do 100 yards a year, a little a year, and just start at the beach, work down in the fall. The successive years we can, redo where we had started so that remains dredged. It should be much easier than it had been. To me, that is the path forward, because as far as waiting for grants from the state, the message these are people who know this type of thing, and maybe they don't come right out and say it, but you don't really need a PhD in reading between the lines to get the message that these grants are not coming. And the freshwater center came pretty close to coming right out and saying it. Assessors, I think this is on the agenda. We can discuss it. Other people want to discuss it. The only point I want to make is we've been talking about this for the past few years, and we had thought, 2/3 of the towns in Essex County have a sole appointed assessor or some sort of, the way the towns do it is all over the place. There's several different ways that the towns handle that, handle assessing. But big picture, it's either sole appointed or 3 elected assessors. 3 elected assessors is the traditional way. It's at this point kind of becoming old fashioned. 2/3 of the towns in Essex County just have a sole appointed assessor. That's not 1000% accurate, but that's close enough, big picture. So this document here, so we had thought, we don't want to go to sole as appointed because we'll delay that as long as we can because that's going to be more expensive based on Jay and Keene and North Elba. But we've spent several hours at least with a couple of town employees and a couple of town officials really researching this. And so there are, at the end of the year, we'll be paying our assessors, the 3, roughly $29,000 is what I expect for us to be paying. So there are several towns, Chesterfield, Crown Point, Elizabethtown, Lewis, Minerva, St. Armand, and Westport, that are paying less than $29,000 for a sole appointed assessor. What is the trend is several towns share an assessor, and he's in, let's say, Elizabethtown 2 days, he's there for the people, more or less 9 to 5, 2 days a month. And then he's also available by appointment. And then the same in Lewis, basically. So, and then, so that is a pretty hefty salary, $25,000 for, 2 days a month. But St. Armand, I think, has got the best deal going. They're only at $18,000. So maybe we could partner up with them. This is just information for the town because, or for the town board and the town, because we've been talking about this for a few years, and we've been needed at least one assessor for, if it's not 2 years, it's close to 2 years at this point. So if we can't find an assessor, say, at some point it will become a crisis. It's not a crisis now. We have a very good chief assessor, chair assessor, who's putting in the extra time. But he's made it clear to me that this is not forever. And when he decides that he's had enough, then it will become a crisis. So, or it will become a significant problem. Crisis is probably overstating it, but just information for everyone to keep in mind. The same, or
Do they
go ahead.
appointed positions do not need to be residents for the assessor?
I think that's correct because they're just an employee at that time, and we have several employees who are not. And if one guy's the assessor for 4 towns, he can't be a resident of all of them.
Right. Okay.
We've had a lot. Let's say a lot. We've had some discussion this year and the past several years about garbage around, junk in people's yards. There is one property in particular that's been a problem for years. And there was, coincidentally, we were just talking about this at our last meeting, and coincidentally, at the Board of Supervisors meeting, the assistant or deputy county attorney gave a very good presentation about what towns should do to address this, because this is a problem all over the county. So this is just for the board to think about, tell me if you want to go down this road. If we do want to address this, what we do is we go through the local law process, and then we go through local law passing a blighted property law. Garbage is considered blight. They have to come before then if they don't clean it up in that interval, the town board, not the judge, but the town board, basically goes through a quasi judicial process where you have to, give them notice and an opportunity to be heard. At the end of that process, the town board can, if it's a residential property, put a $2,500, tack that onto their taxes. If it's commercial, it's $5,000, tack that onto their taxes. So that will, I would think that would get people's attention. So this is, if there is one property that I'm pretty determined to address because it's terrible. I don't know if there's a ton of properties that are terrible, but it's been raised repeatedly over the years, and I just want to make everyone aware of that. If we want to address it, this is how we're going to address it. So just tell me, think it over, and tell me if you want to go down this path. It's an option. I think there were other things I wanted to mention. Oh, yes. Summer program. We're definitely putting in a lot of effort into getting the summer program up and running. It is true that the amount of paperwork for this and bureaucratic requirements are, incredible, remarkable. But I would think that if we can get it going this year, in the future, it'll be easier. So hopefully we can get it going. The hope is to do Monday to Wednesday or Monday to Thursday for the summer youth program. What we really need at this point is a on-site director. And to be the on-site director, you need to have school experience, basically. A teacher or a teacher's assistant. And you have to be willing to complete advanced CPR and first aid training if you don't have it already. So again, this is just the bureaucratic hurdles you have to go through to have this type of. We had to put a new door on the youth building because the door didn't open the correct way. There's just, and the amount of paperwork that needs to be filled out is remarkable. So if anyone knows anyone on the board, I'm asking for the board's help to try to find a director, and I'm asking for the public's help to try to find a director. We also need a health director. That can be a nurse who's on call, so that could be a good job for the right person, or someone who's an EMT who's there.
Do you have descriptions of these with the qualifications listed in them? That you could
I'm
send
pretty
to us?
sure somewhere, yeah.
Okay.
Or if not, that can be done for sure. But, yeah. I think the answer is yes, but if the answer is no, then also yes, that will be done. Still looking for a couple of lifeguards. Lifeguards is going well. We have 3 or 4, but we still need at least a couple. There has been a first youth committee meeting. The youth committee dissolved. It was a. There was I don't even know how to describe it.
Unfortunate.
That's a good enough word. The youth committee dissolved last year, and we're trying to get it running again. If anyone knows anyone or anyone themselves are interested in participating, we definitely welcome that. And they've had one meeting with I think 3 people attended, 3 town residents. So, and thank you, Pat, for all your help with chaperoning over the years for the youth events. And I wanted to mention that Ronnie Keegan passed away, and I just want to express my condolences to his family and friends, lifelong town resident, and someone who cared about the town and someone whose family has given a lot to the town. So for anyone who doesn't know, I just want to mention that. And, express that he was a stalwart staple of the community for his whole life, and he will be missed. I have condolences to his family. That's my report. Randy?
I don't have anything either. I was afraid I was the only one that didn't.
You have anything, Darren?
Just one thing.
Okay,
I lost, my fault, but I kind of got delayed, got lost in the shuffle with many things going on. But I finally did reach out to Ralph Schishler. We approved that a couple months ago,
yes.
but
Yep.
I did talk to him.
Great.
He is on the schedule. He said he'll probably be doing it late May, early June to get the survey done.
Great.
So just an update on that
Thanks.
for the Hazelton Cemetery.
Great. Yeah, I had thought about that. And this again is something we've been talking about for years, and we'll make progress. We will make progress on it this year. This is expanding Hazelton Cemetery. It's at the point where it needs to be done. Okay. The next discussion and resolution item is just this beach light. John and Laura can just talk about this, are much more informed about this than I am. So I guess I'll make this motion this is a resolution authorizing the expenditure of occupancy tax funds to replace a decorative lamp at the town beach. So I will move this. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Discussion. This has been purchased already because it's under the amount that our procurement policy says that, I can spend without getting board approval. But I think we should, if we want to use occupancy tax for it, we should resolve to use occupancy tax for it. So that's why this is on the agenda. Anyone else? And I'll yield the floor. Yes.
Maybe you said Laura has more information. Like,
So-
where is the light?
Sure.
Like, is this the beach road?
Yeah.
We don't know anything about it.
No problem. So the tree stuff, are you good if I speak about it?
Yeah.
Okay. So at the beach, I think, well, it was last month with the windstorm, a tree fell at the beach, knocked over one of the decorative, the tinted lamps that are the two near the parking lot, near the pavilion, the one on the uphill side of the pavilion at the beach, got damaged, and this lamp was not salvageable. So John vetted like two or three different quotes, and this one is from Plattsburgh Champlain Electric or something like that.
Where they were originally ordered.
Yep, and the price has gone up exponentially since they were originally purchased, and for one lamp with the decorative glass to match the ones that are currently there is $1,200. So that's the background on this.
Which is shocking, and there's nothing to be done if we want it to be consistent with the others, really.
Did the post get broke too, or just
No,
the light? Or?
well, it's back up, but I'm sure there was some
There's
damage.
a new one up, but yes. the whole thing got wrong.
I do think this is a valid use of occupancy tax money. We could spend occupancy tax money on this, I think, instead of property tax money. Further discussion?
I don't have a problem with it. I mean, obviously we want them to match, but if we, at some point in the future, if we're get to the point where we're replacing multiple of these, we should probably look into a different source.
Yes.
So
Totally agree.
they're a custom lamp, there is no difference.
Well, what I mean is switch the style or whatever.
Well, like Laura had an idea that you could get cheaper lamps. Do you mind if I?
Nope.
You could get cheaper lamps for like the dam that kind of match what's on the bridge. And then you would have the 10 or 12 that are at the dam storage kind of in case something were to happen. But we put them up. I mean, you probably remember, I think they were in Eddie's garage like when I started. So it's been at least 14-ish years. And that's the only one that's ever been broken. So to totally replace everything at the dam would cost more than replacing the lamp. And if it holds true, which it may or may not, if one breaks every 10 years, you're taking down 100 years worth of lamps and spending more to do it. So
It's just kind of my point behind it, John, is at some point, those are probably gonna go out of stock and we're gonna have to switch anyway. So when that happens, we gotta have some type of backup plan.
They're not in stock, they make them.
I mean, I think that I kind of agree with everyone, in that, I think that's a great idea, is to take some down and keep them safe for if they're needed, and gradually replace the ones at the dam, let's say. And gradually go, because I think the ones on the bridge, those lamps are, I have to assume they're much less expensive. So that would be a project to work on the next time one is damaged. Just take it from by the dam and move it down there and then replace them that way. I would think it makes sense.
They're a Tiffany lamp, and Randy got a grant for them all originally. They were $400 a piece when they were purchased. They've gone up to $1,200 now. I mean, Tiffany's been around a while. You're going up. Anyway. Whatever everyone thinks is the best way to do it.
Hopefully it's a couple years before we have to consider this again.
Roll call. Hannah,
Yes.
Darren,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Randy.
Yes.
Carried all in favor.
So, this is not a criticism of John at all. In fact, this is something that John has been bringing to the board's attention for years, that there is like what you might call deferred maintenance that keeps getting pushed to the back burner and never addressed. Like Laura and I walked through the ball field, and like there's so much debris from fireworks in the ball field at this point. And then there's a lot of litter in the park. The fences need to be painted. The fences need to be straightened. The building could be painted. It all could be raked, really, the park. All of this is to say, like I said, this is not the Parks Department's fault, because the town board and the past administrations, and including me, just keeps putting more on the Parks Department. And so the actual basis of the job gets pushed to the back burner and sometimes not done. But my whole point for bringing this up is there are teenagers who would like to be laborers for the town. I think teenagers can rake, teenagers can paint fences. I think it's positive to provide jobs for teenagers. And really, I mean, a lot of all people who become town employees, like career-long town employees, start as teenagers. So that is my thought on that. I just want to make the board aware that there are a couple of teenagers who would like to work for the town, and I would like to hire them at minimum wage or close to it. And once they get done with the park, they can move on to the next place where things have not been addressed for several years. Does anyone else on the board agree or disagree, or?
I'm in favor of it. I know that John had said he didn't want to have,
An army of teenagers to
Right.
chaperone. Yes.
Right.
He said he would take two.
yeah.
Yep.
I do have that list.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Right. So, this somewhat was discussed last year, and, the number of things that things that needs to be done.
This is from John.
Yeah, but it's things
Last
that needs
year.
to be done, right?
Like things that you would like to do.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Probably.
He also gave us a list that's a long list of things that when he was hired 15 years ago, his job was taking care of the parks. And then it's just been added on to every single year, more responsibilities. There's more parks, there's more people, there's more events, etc. And there's actually there's less staff. So
I'm not familiar with the hiring process. Who does the interviews for them?
I would think John. John and I,
The youth kids were always a county program.
here's the thing about that. To go through the county program, I'm all for it. The parents have to be on some public assistance
Mhm.
or make up to 200% of the poverty line, which
Okay.
is so. But these teenagers who want to work for the town, it would be great if there were some teenagers who qualified for that county program who want to work for the town, but the ones we have at the moment would not qualify for that county program that would pay for their wages. But I'm all for it if that kid exists. I don't know if that kid does exist.
We can advertise, right?
We can advertise, we already have yes, we'll get the army of teenagers. Get them going. Let them loose, and we'll give them all rakes.
Max is 2. Max is
Well,
what?
But
So, yeah, no
I
higher
fully
than-
support the town giving kids a job, which I think is a great thing, and I think they should. Like, the beach has always had the what Sammy used to do
Attendant.
was, and she would, clean fire pits and rent boats and make sure the trash was picked up and stuff, but the boat rentals kind of paid for her. So, I could, if you wanted to, I don't mind being responsible for a couple of years. I mean, they used to paint Eddie's hydrants, but Ed has the way he does things now, and everybody's kind of adapted to how they do things now. So with Chip coming back and Casey here, like I'm good with what I have to do with the people I have, but if the town wants to, give an opportunity to a local kid, I'm happy to help with that.
The things that he mentioned would be possible with your team. That's
Yeah,
what you're saying.
and if they're under a certain age, there's a whole list of things they can and can't do. It's pretty, pretty restrictive if you're under 16.
We got plenty of rakes.
But from where we're at, we're okay with who we have. But if that's something that you guys want to do, I would be happy to take a kid and have them paying and staying or whatever.
That was my first job actually when I was like 14. Was on the youth corps or whatever it was called back then. I mean, there was a lot of, a few kids that I can remember that worked on the town back then.
You worked for the town as a teenager, correct? I worked for the town as a teenager. Darren? No, he was in his early 20s. He was a late bloomer.
20.
So is everyone okay with hiring up to 2 teenagers as laborers?
Where are we getting the funds for one?
Okay,
And 2, I understand John's point, and basically what John's trying to say is, he respects the town and the right to hire kids and try to get things done. However, if it becomes a nuisance for John and takes him away from doing the important things that he has to do, then it may not be helping the town ultimately, because I don't want John, that's capable of doing much more detailed projects and things that are important, to become a babysitter. And a lot of times when they're, especially if they're under 16, you end up more times being a babysitter because, they cut their finger. Oh, well, they ran their paintbrush in the dirt, and it's constantly running and getting stuff and being a babysitter than it is actually getting anything done. And if John's going to spend 2 to 4 hours a day, let's just say 2 hours a day, running these kids around, getting them going, that's 2 hours that John's losing doing something, which is actually putting him farther behind. So I want to be conscientious of that, and I understand it, but in some ways it may help, and in other ways I think it may hinder what John has to do.
The beach could take someone however many days a week they're working, however many hours they're working, they could just stay there. because
Plus, there's other people there too. There's lifeguards
There's
and
constantly something to do, and there's an adult there. The other one could go with me, and if I could get him staying and I could work where I'm close enough that, I'm accessible, but I'm still doing what I need to do.
Well, if I can,
I just can't, I don't know what I would do it for.
Never.
if I can jump on as well, part of my question with the interview was making sure that this is, even as teenagers can be responsible, they can do stuff like that, but the interview process could weed out anyone who wouldn't be able to work independently, perhaps. So one of my suggestions was maybe just start with one and, do the interviews, pick the one you think is gonna be most responsible and able to work, to do the job that you have in mind and start there. And then maybe you see if that goes well about adding, coming back to add a second.
You're gonna need a boat rental person anyway. Either way.
There's always been, going back to when I was a kid, there was a kid who worked at the beach attendant, raking and that type of thing.
Parker,
So, what's that?
Parker, Mass.
Correct. So there's at least one every summer, as far as I know. So it would be. Okay,
Which
so,
was Dan's kid and his friend last year.
Yeah.
Remember that? I don't remember.
yeah, last year there was two because we had, the beach was open every day and the boat rentals, I guess, were pretty busy from.
But one person could stay there all the time and they'll never run out of anything to do, and one person could, be around us and help us with things. Two is a good number for me, like,
Okay.
or whatever you guys decide. Who I have now is a good number for me, but I'm saying I'm happy to.
We have beach attendant in our budget, correct? And
So that one could already be accounted for.
that one we have in the budget.
And Ed may have work that he would rather not do that is super easy, and Lou may too, so like if there's a day where they want him to do something, this person could just bounce.
So what about two, one for the beach and then one that could support?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, it depends on how often the beach is open, which we don't know yet. We don't know until we know how many lifeguards we have. So the beach is open every day, long hours like it was last summer. We would want two for the beach. But that's totally TBD because we don't know how many lifeguards will apply or want to work from town.
You don't know how many rain days you can have either.
True.
Could be a rainy summer,
Yeah, that's
could
true.
be a dry summer.
Yep.
And like on a rainy day, you probably just call them to stay home. Like that's what would happen with us. But even if the beach isn't open, there's the whole dock can be staying, the whole entire fence, the lamp post, the bathroom hasn't been staying. There's the nature trail, there's stuff can be cut out and dragged out of there. Old posts. The playground equipment can be pressure washed.
This is what I was trying to get at. This is what I was trying to express at the start of this conversation.
I'm just saying that one person could stay to the beach all summer, regardless if the beach is
Yep.
open.
So if they're renting those, they're not going to be doing that stuff, but I don't know. I'm happy to start with two. I think that's positive. Hopefully that won't be a burden on John, right? One person will not be a burden and the other can be at the beach more or less full time. As far as where it's going to come out of, we do have a budget surplus from last year, which we will discuss at some point. So I wouldn't want to take it out of fund balance, but I'm certainly willing to spend the budget surplus from last year.
well, I mean, the budget surplus is fund balance.
Is it like July, August? I mean, that's when they'd be working or
That's the other thing.
basically.
Then on the beach.
It's not gonna be a huge amount of money.
That's right. It's 1/3 of a leaf blower.
Maybe if you get a couple good kids, they would come back the next year and, advance a little in what they would do or could do or whatever.
So do you want to figure out what the actual cost would be potentially and then come back to us? Or
I
do you wanna
did do
it
the
right now?
math and it's really low because it's like 17 times 40 times 8.
Mhm.
And that's like, if I remember right, it was like maybe $4,000 or it was not, compared to some of the sums we talk about. it was
And we
not.
think the stuff that was already set aside can be used for one of those? For the,
The beach attendants in the budget.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, I was wrong. Okay, 5,440. I stand corrected.
that was 2 months?
That was what he said, 17 times 40 and then times 8.
But they won't work 40, so 17 times 30 times 8. That's probably where I got the 4,000. 4,000.
I'm fine with it. Let's just move on.
Okay, next, would anyone like to make this resolution authorizing the employment of Charles Grundon as a Parks Department laborer seasonal?
I'll make that.
Is there a second?
At the same rate that Casey's getting paid.
Yes, as far as I know.
That's the only thing. I would just want him to get paid the same as Casey. Other than that, I'm fine with it.
I'm 99% sure.
Nicole, do you know?
Did someone make a second on that? I'll make a second. I'll second it. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
I will be writing that up as if it was a vote.
Roll call. You can do it as a roll call. right?
We don't need to, I'll just write it
You know, much like the assessor, we've been kind of scrambling to find people to serve on the Board of Assessment Review. So I would like to thank the people who have agreed to serve on the Board of Assessment Review. One person I asked said, that's the most politically incorrect job in town after mine. So it was not super easy to find someone. So thank the 3 people who are willing to do it. I'll make a motion to appoint Darren Harris to a 3-year term on the Board of Assessment Review. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Truck purchase. Would someone like to make this motion? Is
Make it.
there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Discussion. This is another thing we've been talking about for a few years, I think. So,
I do want to add that we have a fund,
Oh, yeah.
New York class account. I would like that money to come out and go towards the purchase.
good point. Good point. It's about 5,000 as I remember, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think so.
With the money to be drawn from the town's truck account and the remainder from the 2025. Yeah. With, so $5,168 to be drawn from the Parks truck account and the remainder to be drawn from the 2025 budget surplus. Further discussion?
I don't know if we have to do it in this resolution, if you wanted piggyback it in there, so we're only doing one, or if you want to do a separate, but I think like I had discussed and Laura had double checked on the snowplow, I would like to just add the snowplow price to this truck purchase. So it's in there, it's a resolution, it's done. So when we get the truck, it's already approved for the snowplow to go get purchased, and then Eddie's truck can just be switched for the plow that we have existing.
Right.
We already have the quotes that Eddie got for his. I do not have that with me, I don't believe, but I know it was from Central Garage, and I believe it was for $7,500 was the lowest. So I'd like to piggyback that or do a separate resolution to get that approved as well.
I could be wrong. You have a truck with a plow. and then you have another truck with a plow that's gonna go to Eddie. The plow's gonna go to Eddie.
Yeah.
So this truck also needs a plow. Because you had said something about the tractor.
Well,
If we give the plow to Eddie, then he's got a truck without a plow.
the truck should at least get wired in the frame or the plow if it's not something, if you want to get it now, whatever, if you don't. Yeah, I mean, my plow that I have now would go on the truck.
Okay, and it's the Western, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's the
But-
quote for that quote.
At least,
And it's included in the quote, right? The beginning, like the setup for a plow is.
It's included in that quote, yes,
That quote,
yes.
right, but there was something in the.
That's just the snowplow prep package.
Yes,
That's just on the
something,
truck
yes,
itself.
Yeah, okay, but
the
I
frame and.
I know there's more to it, but.
But like the dealership would just send it to Central or whatever, make plow, you have whatever business deals with that.
Okay.
So which it would be Central.
So maybe we just do it in two separate resolutions, approve the truck and then approve a purchase of a new plow. So the money's set aside.
I have no preference whatsoever.
If you're gonna get a new plow and use it next winter, you should get it like during the summer or something and not wait until like November, December. You know, so you can use it when you need it.
So how
We
should,
rarely would use both trucks with both plows, but if something were to break or whatever, you know, it's handy to have a backup, but we could probably figure it out between every one of us that work here. Someone could do something. Ashton usually will be in the tractor and I will be plowing.
That's what it
That's
said,
typically
yeah.
good enough unless, you know, you get a nuclear. Everyone's understanding that it's gonna take a little while when you get.
I still think that we live in a snowy area. To work for a municipality or to be a municipality and buy a new truck without a plow on it. So we'd have a brand new truck without the ability to plow. It doesn't make sense to me. And if we're gonna go through the expense to put a frame and everything else on it, then why wouldn't we just have it set up to plow from the start?
And I bet the price is not gonna go down
Exactly.
any ever.
How many times this past winter was it a struggle? We
Well,
got, I mean, we got some pretty big snowstorms, like a few times.
Yeah, we're okay. No matter what, we're okay. But I agree with what you're saying and what Randy said, that it, you know, nothing's gonna go down, like the lamps were $400 and one time, now it's $1,200. So if you're gonna buy a plow at some point for that truck, then
I bet they're
Summer.
cheaper now in
Yeah,
the
right.
summer than they are in the fall.
I totally
and
agree.
Everybody's,
And they go up every
Talking about
year.
it. oh yeah.
I have no problem with it.
how many times in the past 5 years have you needed both plows? Couple?
I don't know.
It is interchangeable with the other trucks too, so it would be.
The new one would be with my truck and the new truck.
And Eddie,
If one, and it, you know, if you do break down in the middle of the snowstorm, it is pretty heavy to just hook up to another one and just keep going.
Okay, so how should we handle this?
separate resolution.
Okay, so we're still on the truck purchase resolution. I think we'll do a roll call vote unless there's any further discussion.
Okay, so you weren't getting the truck purchased with the setup to put the plow in?
It is.
It is already
included in
set
the
up,
quote.
okay. Okay, roll call
That,
vote.
John, that number works, 52? Is,
Well, I mean, I got the quote, so I got,
is 51 and some, I believe.
well, no, that's, there's two different, there's the 7.3 and there's the 6.8. The 7.3, I mean, I don't want to take up too much.
No, but we want to get the number right.
7.3, you have to purchase an extra appearance package because standard with that appearance package, which is it's like 3,000 and change.
Yep.
So if you were to get the cheaper truck, the 6.8, it would knock, 4-ish thousand off, which would then pay for a good portion of the plow.
That sounds like that's your recommendation.
I don't really have that.
Well, either way, this 52 will cover it. So what I was worried about was 52 wouldn't be enough. But
Oh, yeah, good more.
Okay.
The quote you should have.
Yep, I've got it
Yep.
48, 398.43 for the 6.8 liter.
I was just doing it by memory when I wrote this one, so I wanted to double check.
Yeah.
What's the resolution for 52?
Correct. Yes.
Yes.
No more than 50.
Tim,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Randy,
Yes.
carried all in favor.
Okay, the plow, I'm open to doing this, however,
I'll make a resolution to purchase the Western snowplow from Central Garage for $75.50.
I'll second it. Discussion? Works. Okay. No discussion, hearing no discussion, roll call vote.
Okay, I was reading something.
No problem.
Who made it?
Darren,
Who seconded?
I did.
Okay, Hannah? Yes. Darren?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes,
Laura?
Yes.
Randy?
Yes.
good. Making pretty good time through here. I don't want to necessarily discuss this for too long. We'll see how we do. I've changed this in response to the discussion at the last meeting. So I'll just go through these as quickly as I can. Correct, we're talking about local law number 2, and this is just discussion. Big picture, what the board needs to decide is if we want to, currently there's no regulation for tiny homes other than the minimum square footage the dwelling can be in Wilmington, which is 500 square feet. Do we want to regulate tiny homes? And in the public comment, we did hear some of that, people saying that they did want regulations of tiny homes related to like how many could be on a lot, how visible they are. I don't have obviously I'm sympathetic to that. I'm certainly not adamant about it. So that's totally for the board to decide is if we want to regulate tiny homes. They're currently not regulated. So Amendment 3 is, if we do want to regulate it, it's adding it to the definitions in the zoning ordinance. Currently, tiny house isn't in there. The same with 4, just adding it to the use regulations. 5 is requiring a site plan review for tiny homes in the hamlet and moderate intensity zoning districts. And then moving on, again, this is in response to what we heard from the public. This is requiring site plan review of manufactured homes in Hamlet 1, Hamlet 2, and moderate intensity zoning districts. 7 is kind of the impetus for this whole process, which is, 7, I mean, the way the law currently is written is almost incomprehensible. Because if it is actually interpreted the way it's written, anyone can put a manufactured home wherever they want because mobile homes are pre-1976. So as it's written, the minimum land is 3 acres for pre-1976 manufactured homes. It's never been interpreted literally as it's written. It's been applied to any type of double or single wide, or even that type of dwelling. So the whole point of this undertaking, what we were asked to do by the planning board initially was to treat manufactured homes the same as traditional homes. Public was not thrilled about that, so we moved back on it, and we're still we're not treating them the same, but we're being more permissive than we had been. At the last meeting, we talked about, I had written no more than one manufactured home per lot, which was, again, in response to what we heard from the public. Darren said, a fair point, well, some lots are huge. If a family wants to have multiple manufactured homes on their lot, that should be allowed without going through the variance process. So to try to compromise between those two things is what came up with is no more than one manufactured home per acre. So that's kind of a compromise. And currently it's, if you have a manufactured home, the minimum is 3 acres. Well, the idea now is to take that down to 1 acre minimum. So if the substandard lot, you can't have a manufactured home on it. If it's a half-acre lot, which there are permissible lots that are half-acre, you wouldn't be allowed to put a mobile home on that. You would need. So moving on to 9, starts with a recitation of the current language, then moves into the proposed new language. Cleans it up a little, makes it a little more readable, then goes into the changes. Darren asked for us to clarify what we mean by foundation. I think the current, all it says currently is a permanent foundation in our current code. So Darren asked for a more specific definition of what permanent means. I found this is I'm almost positive this is from HUD. If it's not from HUD, it's from some similar federal government agency. What they recommend for permanent foundation, for the definition of permanent foundation. I have run this by Doug, and he likes it. He said he likes it because he thought it was sufficiently vague. To me, it's not vague at all. It's much more specific than our current code, or what our code currently says. Wooden steps or decking, that's something Laura came up with to, again, address the concerns we heard about aesthetics, and then no older than 5 years. Again, in response to some of what we heard from the public. C is completely, it's in response to what we heard from the public. It's also an idea Randy brought to me. I think Darren and I are on the same page. We're not sure it's legal. If it is legal, I think it's worth certainly considering and bringing it to the public hearing again. I don't think it was yesterday, it was the day before yesterday. A member of the public said to me, well, the thing with manufactured homes is they're just going to be used for vacation rentals. So, I mean, this is something that is definitely being repeated in the community regularly. And we definitely heard it repeatedly at the public hearing and in the letters from the public. Section 10 is the same as C, but it's not manufactured homes, it's tiny homes. Unless it's an accessory dwelling unit, because we do want to allow locals to have STRs. I mean, I think we're all in favor of, if you live in Wilmington full time and you have a tiny home in your property, you want to rent it out. I don't think any person at this table or in this room has an issue with that. We if anything, we kind of want, we don't want to impede that. 11, again, it's in response to both what the public said and what Randy said at the last meeting. Initially, at the very first iteration of this, I had included screening. Then Laura didn't like it, so I took it out. Then Randy wanted it back, so I put it back. Then Laura said water it down, so I watered it down. So it's a little watered down from where it had been initially. It's not as strong as the screening requirements for commercial businesses, but there is some screening required. And it definitely allows the planning board to require more, to go farther than the bare minimum in situations where it's appropriate. This one, again, this is in response to what the planning board asked us to do. They asked us to, currently in our code, a tiny home or a a dwelling to be permissible in Wilmington, it has to be 500 square feet and above. The planning board asked us to take that down to 300 square feet to basically make housing more accessible for people in Wilmington. Decrease the minimum square footage of a dwelling. Darren has a reason to bring that back up to, so we had taken it down to 300. There's a valid reason to take it back up to 400. Doug asked us to change the square footage of the minimum square footage of a bedroom to match New York State law. So that this 12 is exactly the same as the current code, except the numbers are different. Okay, 13 is in response to what Darren asked for at the last meeting. He pointed out that our code is inherently incoherent because our code defines mobile homes as pre-1976, but scattered throughout the code are references to mobile homes. They don't mean mobile homes. They mean manufactured homes or RVs. So the first one is just taking it out. They're talking about RVs, but they say mobile homes. So it's what would be the word? Illogical. It is, it's hard. Yeah, it doesn't make sense within the definitions of our code. So it's just taking it out. The rest, they say, the people who wrote our code have mobile home, but what they mean is manufactured home. So it's just swapping out manufactured home for mobile home in these parts of the code. The rest of it is boilerplate. So with that, my goal is to bring this to attorney review. That's the next thing we'll do before setting a public hearing. But the board needs to discuss it. I mean, I think technically I can probably do it on my own volition, but I'd like to have the board's buy-in and not do it on my own volition. So I'm hoping that we can get there tonight. If we don't get there tonight, go from there. But so I open the floor to the rest of the board.
I'm good with it.
We're up to 2.
I'm good.
You got 3.
I think it'll be important to get feedback on a couple of really important changes that were made, and then we go from there. I think you've done a good job meeting in the middle. I mean, this has been, the amount of energy I know that you put in, and, the back and forth, and Doug, and, there has been a huge amount of effort into this and taking everybody's opinion in. So I think it's as good as it can be at this moment, and see what he says.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, and I agree with that.
I mean, I'm fine with most of it. The changes that you have made, Tim, thank you for making them. And I do think that it's made it a better and easier to decipher thing. You already know my feelings about the one thing as far as the short-term rental regulating them. I mean, we have 150, so again, it kind of, if it's a manufactured home that's going to be treated as a regular home, and it's going to be looked as a regular home, and we're treating it as a regular home, then I feel like it should be treated like a regular home. Like, we shouldn't put stipulations on it. If we're treating it like a regular home in every other way, then it should be treated like a regular home for a short-term rental too. So that's my feeling. And then the only other thing, I mean, I don't really know how to fix it. So we have a dwelling as a tiny homes of less than 500 square feet. So basically, again, we've
been arguing about this.
I know.
I mean, I'm not even kidding.
It's not even that. It's just like, so now we have this very small category of 400 to 500 square feet that we have a home. Like, let's just keep it at 400 square feet minimum out of the town and do away with the whole thing, and it saves us so much work. That's my only thought. It's like we're talking about 100 square feet difference.
Like not even 99.
Well, exactly. So you build a 500 square feet house, you need absolutely nothing. You build a 480 square foot house and you got to jump through hurdles. I don't know. It just seems like it's either going to be one way or the other. To me, like, just do away with it and leave it at 400 and everybody has a good day and we move forward. But
You know, we have been literally arguing about this for the past 24 hours. I initially had this at 1,000, then I moved it down to 800, then I just gave up and went with what Laura wants. But I think it should be more than 500 for exactly the reasons you say.
right,
It makes no sense.
exactly. That's why, and it's either one way or the other. Either we're gonna have a bigger thing than 99 square feet.
Right.
From like 400 to 800, or just do away with it.
So
That's my biggest hang up with the whole thing. Other than that, thank you, Tim.
you're welcome. Yeah, and like I said, I believe that, we have to take into account the people who care enough to actually show up, and express their opinion. I think this is what I got from the public hearing, is that they want regulations on tiny homes. Definitely not a burning passion of mine to regulate tiny homes. I'll go with whatever the majority of the board
I
wants.
mean, and the other thing is, if we do change it to say 800,
Yep.
we're actually making it more restrictive
Right.
than it is now.
With-
So we're not actually helping, we're actually hurting the process. So it's like, it's kind of a catch-22 on it.
Yep. It seems like that's what the people who cared enough to talk wanted, but
I understand. It's just like, I don't know. It's like we do one thing to help and then we do another thing to hurt. And then the other
I
thing,
mean, we
Tim,
can take it out for now. When we hear the same thing at the last one, as we did last week, we can talk about putting it back in. Or I say we just give it to the lawyer and he can tell us if it even passes muster. If it,
Yeah.
If we're still kind of thinking we might want it.
At least the language, if we do end up having to add it back, at least it's already been reviewed.
That's right.
I'm fine with that. Like I said, it's just for 99 square feet and have this little category, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
We could do 600 or 700.
But then, like I said, then we're actually hurting the process of making it easier for people.
Yeah, and 500 square feet, I don't have a good sense of what would actually accurately demarcate a tiny home below, whether it's below 800, 700, 600,
New York State says 400 and under.
but we're not even allowing that.
Oh, I know, we're allowing 400.
Right. So we should probably just have it for 1 foot.
Can't.
I think we'll just leave it as is for now and revisit this, and we'll get the attorney's perspective and then make our final determination based on his feedback.
Oh, and then
But I hear you, and I've been saying that.
again, it just, I feel like
Yep.
it doesn't really affect me one way or another. And then I think we were going to talk about it later in the meeting, is we have site plan review.
Yep.
So we have to clean that up. And maybe I was thinking a way to do that is have it basically meet the same things as a special use permit, because it's a lot easier to get a special use permit than it is a full site plan. It has to go in front of the zoning board and have them review it, but it's not like a whole big packet that they have to fill out. So it's just kind of.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
The thing is that the site plan review sounds like a less cumbersome process than special use permit.
Well, it doesn't have to be called a special use permit, but maybe we can just come up with some other type of term and be like,
I think I like your
review from the zoning and planning board or something like that.
I like what you and Randy said at the last meeting, which is there should be for site plan review, it should be a more lenient, I think you might have said that as well.
Exactly.
More lenient process than for commercial.
It's just, I'm trying to, if we put this in effect now, and then it takes us 4 months to come up with a site plan review, now we have a site plan review that we don't really know what we're doing until we come up with a site plan review. So that's why I thought maybe the easy way is just to be and you know, an appearance in front of the zoning and planning board, or, you know, or a planning and zoning board review.
I think that wouldn't fly, like we.
Because they wouldn't have their neighbor,
They would
like,
have criteria.
yeah, do you have,
There needs to be a rubric.
Two different site plan reviews, one for residential, one for commercial.
I'm open to that, but as Darren said, that's gonna take another 4 months to come up with, minimum, you know?
in the meantime, we just have them use what we're using.
Here's the thing. They're not draconian about the application of these site plan reviews. Like, there are forms that are not completely filled out. There are board members who don't scrutinize them that closely. I think that, you know, a lot of the time, like, the letter of the law and the application of the law are pretty far apart.
Maybe we can even just make up another one real quick and go through the current one that we have and X out areas that aren't needed for this and call it like, this is the form for.
Residential site plan.
Exactly, and just X out areas that we're not concerned
Would you
about.
like to take the lead on that?
I would be happy to.
At my wit's end. Okay, great. Cool, great. That can be the next local law, residential site plan review criteria. I think we all think that makes sense. So, okay, I think we have consensus. Any further discussion? Okay,
Are we doing a resolution to send this to a lawyer, or are you just saying
I don't think it's necessary,
it's not?
you know, so. Okay. Good. You know, I hate to skip 5 again, local law 5 for the second time. And I had threatened Laura that if we had to skip it again, I was gonna call a special meeting to discuss it. So,
No.
You might actually start.
well, let's discuss it then. Well, it's either that or, you know, we're not gonna postpone it for the next 5 months, you know, so.
Nobody said that.
So okay, I'll make a motion to introduce local law 5. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Okay, discussion. Why do you hate it?
I don't need it.
We're up to 2.
Why did it go from 3 acres last meeting to 2 acres this meeting?
I didn't change it. Didn't
I'm
change.
positive it said 3 acres before.
I'm 99.5% sure. I didn't
There was
change it.
both, I
What's that?
thought.
It does have both. I guess I should
Both.
explain for the public
Yeah.
what this is,
Yeah,
probably.
probably.
For the public,
Brief synopsis.
in the room and online, this is posted on the town website. So this, all right, the genesis of this is we do have forestry is regulated in our code. The problem is people have been unhappy the past couple of years about the amount of what they call clear cutting. It doesn't necessarily mean clear cutting, but that's what people call it. The amount of clearing, essentially. And so we have forestry in our code, and we're on the verge, at the next meeting, we will pass a local law to clarify, again, our current zoning code, 2 lines in our code are swapped from what they should be. We're going to correct that. Forestry means logging for the sake of logging. It doesn't mean logging for the sake of development. So whether, you know, we had definitely discussed changing the numbers in the forestry regulations to deal with some of the things people are unhappy about. But it's not going to make a difference no matter how we set it, no matter where we set those numbers, because it's logging for the sake of, you know, actual logging. So I'm trying to come up with language that will address what I think probably everyone in the room hopefully could agree people have been unhappy about the past few years. So, and you know, I am an attorney, but I'm not a land use attorney. This is my like good faith, best effort using a definition, I think from the APA of land clearing. But I obviously that it really should be given to Paul Bancock to get his perspective. And it's certainly not ready for any kind of public hearing or much other than attorney review. So it's my, just to sum it up for the public, our zoning code differentiates between the use table, which is the heart of the zoning code, differentiates between residential, commercial, and industrial use. This is a summary. It's not 1,000% accurate, but this is big picture. This is what this does. Logging permit less than 2 acres permitted everywhere. You don't need any kind of permit. And this is just to create some kind of permitting requirement, because right now you can log as long as it's for development purposes, you can log as much as you want without any kind of permit from the town. So 2 acres, you can do that without any kind of permit. More than 2 acres, this proposal is to require site plan review in the hamlet. Only the hamlet. So between 2 and 3 acres requires site plan review in the hamlet. More than 3 acres requires site plan review and a special use permit in the hamlet, moderate intensity and low intensity districts. And then more than 5 acres requires site plan review and a special use permit in all districts. That is, again, that's a summary it's not completely accurate, but it's not worth spending the time explaining where it's different from that. Big picture, that's correct. The next one is in response to an issue that has been in our code. Our code defines retail as not only, everyone thinks of retail as sale of goods, but our code includes the sale of services, which is, and that's kind of I've been told, I'm not 100% sure this is true. I've been told that this was intentional to make commercial development easier. This is why these storage units were classified as retail, because you can make the argument they're a service. And because they're retail, they didn't need a variance. They can be in the low and moderate intensity zoning districts without a variance. So this is just deleting the word service so that retail means sale of goods, which is what every English-speaking person thinks of when they think of retail. No one thinks of storage units as retail or any other kind of service. Next one is, I have run this by Anna Reynolds, the county planning department. She really liked it. It's just expanding the radius where people get notice of projects that would have to come before the planning board, essentially, or zoning board, so that they know and they can attend the hearing, or they can look at the plans, or they can be aware. 500 square feet seems like a small radius. It's currently 10 days prior to the hearing. That seems a little short. I had put it at 20. Doug said that's too much, so I changed it from 20 to 14.
I think.
Yeah,
Sarah.
yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know, yes. 14. The next one, Laura asked me to take this out, and I find I'm taking it out, just Xing out section 10. The reason why it's in here is because currently our code enforcement officer is not applying the code as written. And I just want to inform the board of that and basically get the board's approval to apply the code as written. Like, this section here is not being done. I believe it should be done for multiple reasons, including the fact that it's what the code says should be done. But so I'm going to, unless I hear a lot of objection in the next couple of days, I'm going to inform our code enforcement officer to apply this as is written.
Could you read that?
Yes. Yes, thank you. So section A3 of Article, 16? 14?
I got it now.
14 of the zoning ordinance reads as follows. And this is the costs of people who are putting in projects before the planning board. So the costs of the projects are the responsibility of the applicant. The applicant shall provide the envelopes with stamps, meaning we're talking about a 500 or 1,000 square foot notice radius. Those people in that radius have to receive this notice via mail. The zoning code says that the applicant pays for that, not the town, the stamps. And if subsequent hearings are required, additional notices and mailings shall be paid for by the applicant, not the taxpayers. This is not being applied, and I believe it should be applied. So unless if everyone's more or less on board with that, we can discuss that. Let's start with that, because unless I hear differently, I'm going to tell Doug to apply this as written in the next, I'm going to tell him basically next time I see him. Unless I hear differently.
All I meant was I wanted you to keep this.
I know,
Okay.
but I honestly think there's no point in having it. We just have to apply to what the code currently says, you know? There's no point in having this section, I agree with you, we can just X this all out, but I just want to apply the code, you know? We don't need to amend it, we just need to apply it.
Okay.
And with that, we'll start with section 10, if there's anything anyone wants to say about section 10. And then after that, would anyone like to say anything about section 10? Great. At this point, I will open the floor to the board for general discussion. Please.
9, I don't think we need it. I think it's worked as is. I just feel like it's more work for Doug. It's more hoops for everybody to jump through. There's more controversy in town. Like, there's still a public hearing. So even if you weren't mailed something, it doesn't mean that you're not going to have an opportunity to talk. So to have to put more work on Doug and search for more people within a 1,000-foot radius, I just feel like it's not needed since there is a public hearing procedure anyway. And 500 feet is a fair radius because it's from any point that touches the property. So if it's a front corner or a back corner, I mean, a 500-foot radius is, if you were to take an acre lot, it's approximately 40,000 square feet. If you put it in a square, that's 200 by 200. So it would have to be 2.5 acres away minimum in every direction for somebody to not get a notice. That's a pretty big area if we're talking for acreage lots. So you'd be literally, if they're acre lots, you'd be the 4th lot before you didn't get a notice. If we're taking that to 1,000 square feet, you could be 8 or 10 lots down the road before you and now get a notice. So I just don't see a reason. I'm fine with extending it to 14 days so people have a little more notice, but I don't see the reason to have to extend it out because of the public hearing.
I think we did get feedback from people that they weren't aware, like they weren't, they would have liked to have known about it. Maybe they didn't see the sign, maybe they're not in town, maybe they didn't, get a notice, but if they got something in the mail, they would have known about it. And there are projects that have happened that people have given us feedback about that have not known about the project because they didn't see any other, notice of it. That's.
But the whole point of that when it was originally applied was because if there's something done in that area, it's going to have a direct impact towards adjoining landowners. And that's the reason that it was put in there. So 500 feet basically encompasses any adjoining landowner to that property. Beyond that, depending on the width of the lot, you could be a mile or two down the road, depending on how the width works out on different lots. Maybe not a mile or two, that's not, but you could be 8 or 10 lots down the road that are still getting notices.
I believe that an acre is close to more or less a football field, including the end zones. Is that correct?
I'm not sure. Like I said, it's 200 by 200 approximately. So.
Got it. Right. 200 feet by 200 feet. Right. So yeah, that would make sense. That would be about right. Yeah.
I feel sort of indifferent either way. I just want to play devil's advocate a little bit. I think in terms of creating controversy, you could argue that this might help because if people feel more included in the process from the get-go and feel like they've actually had an opportunity to say their piece, it might help lessen the controversy a little bit.
You know, we are doing better than previous administrations have done as far as getting the word out about things. And the town really should consider that an obligation. You know, obviously I'm not adamant that it's 1,000. I'd like to see it go up. I'd like to see it go up. 500, you know, if I'm right, then that's more or less 2.5 football fields away. Yeah, it's still, I would like to just see that extended a little bit for notice, but I'm not adamant. I put this in there because I brought up the idea to the county planning agency and they really liked the idea. So I went with it.
I just feel that it's more work for
For
everybody.
definitely is more work for Doug. No doubt about it.
Did it used to be like adjoining land? Like if your land,
You automatically get one if you
Yeah.
join, and then everybody within the 500.
Everyone 2.5 football fields, more or less. Thoughts? Okay,
See what the public says.
other thoughts? I mean, I would be shocked if the public had a strong opinion about that number. The public has shocked me before, so. Other thoughts about other parts? I'm obviously flexible about all this. Like I said, I would just like to give this to Van Cott to get his feedback on it. I think that's the next step. Could I get approval to give this to Van Cott to get his feedback on it?
I have a question on
Please.
the land clearing thing.
Yep.
Say somebody owns 20 acres.
Yep.
Say they want to log the pine on those 20 acres.
Yep.
And they do that.
No, not without a permit.
Well, with a permit, can you do that?
Log the pine throughout well, yes. Yeah.
I would think. I mean, why would you own that kind of land if you can't do nothing with it?
What all this is saying is you have to get a permit. You have to
Which
go through.
costs how much? About,
Not that much.
$50?
Yeah.
I think 50 for the
Okay.
application.
But to be devil's advocate and to what you're saying, Randy, is, and especially if we extend it to 1,000 feet,
Mhm.
everybody, if you're gonna do a logging project,
Mhm.
everybody within 1,000 feet of that property now gets a say. So you may have 20 acres
yeah.
and not be able to log it because people don't like that you're gonna log it, which defeats the whole purpose of what you're saying.
That's right.
You know, what is it? Yeah. Yeah, and you know, I knew that this type of thing would come up. You know, we need to put some kind of check in to the cutting. You know, how that's done.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible that this is not the best way to do it, but again, that's why I'd like a land use attorney's advice as to the best way to do it.
I mean, land use regulations are just sort of part of local government, and it makes sure that the environment is protected, and we've heard so much people talking about the character and the aesthetics, so this just makes sure that there's community buy-in in that regard.
Very well said.
On 20 acres, would the EPA have to be involved?
That's totally unclear because,
It's big.
yeah. It's one of those
I
potentially
think it's 50 acres or something for the EPA, isn't it? I think so.
Well, you know, honestly, 20 acres, I think what the definition we have now is in preparation for development activities. That's right. So if you're logging to log 20 acres, that
Separate.
would be regulated by our current code, you know?
Mhm.
And our current code's pretty permissive. I think it's 50 where it triggers. So it's logging to log is a different thing.
Well, I mean, one of the biggest things to kind of go both ways to talk about what Randy did is one for commercial sites. People are really concerned with commercial sites. And two, there's a difference between forestry management and cutting pines off your property and clear cutting.
Mhm.
If you're going and clear cutting your property, that's no longer forestry management and taking the,
It is a form of forestry management.
but what I'm saying is if you're clear cutting the property, that's clear cutting versus going through and select timbering.
Right. But
Your
cutting,
property.
clear cutting is a type of forestry. It can be used in specific areas. It's just, what is the purpose of it?
I know, but what Randy basically was saying is if somebody can't, they have 20 acres and they want to cut the pines off and the neighbors say no,
To pay
that's,
their taxes. or
Right.
Whatever.
Laura will have an answer very soon, because it's in our code, logging for the point of logging. And I think it's 50 where that kicks in, 50 acres.
I think so too.
50 what's in my head.
Your point, Darren, I did, residential, clearing is, as this is written, is more permissive, and commercial and industrial is more restricted. Forestry, so forestry,
So forestry with an approved management plan is permitted everywhere. And then this is the forestry less or more than 50 acres that we adjusted our special use permits. Oh, is this the correct one?
no, it actually does read as correct.
Yeah.
So they might have just printed corrected copies.
Okay.
We've all been using incorrect copies. So this does read as correct.
So special use permit or permitted, so low intensity rural use or resource management would be permitted. And then special use permits for hamlet or moderate intensity, so.
right, but under the new proposal, it would not be permitted anymore because now we're taking it down to 2 and 3 acres.
What's a different terminology?
Yeah, it's a different definition. Land clearing for development. He's not talking about land clearing for development. He's talking about logging for logging,
So forestry.
which is forestry less than 50 acres is permitted in the hamlet and in moderate intensity in our current code. And then it requires special use permit.
Mhm.
And
No site
none of
plan
this
review.
seems right now that I'm looking at it.
That,
We're gonna see what the lawyer says. But I don't know.
Well, again, these two lines, local law 3 is correcting this forestry definition because the code reverses 2 lines, which is why we're getting cross-eyed here, because we're trying to interpret this table in front of people and.
I understand that part of it. It's just like I said, I mean, I don't see where it says in here just for development and it says just land clearing. And I had brought this up to Doug. I mean, when you're talking 2 acres, let's just say somebody has a 20-acre lot and you're going to put a 1,500-foot road into it and then clear an acre for your house. Now all of a sudden you're getting near the 2 acres of clearing and you got to get a permit.
No, it's,
It's on section 3, it says, in preparation for development. That's what they're amending the code for land clearing to indicate that, and that's what all of these are referring to.
but, thank you. And like, I am flexible on these numbers. And if the public or the board feels that these numbers should be moved, I'm not going to fight to the death on that whatsoever. I'm totally willing to change these numbers. This is the first time we've discussed this, but probably these numbers will change, I mean, look at how many times local law 2 has changed. So I'm not, this certainly isn't set in stone at all. And if we decide that we should move some of these numbers up, then at least we have something on the books that's better than what we have now. Any version of this will be better than what we have now, even if we decide to loosen it up significantly. So I'm going to, we have at least three of us approve of sending this to Paul Dancock, right?
I approve.
I mean, I don't even have a problem with that. Like I said, I just,
Remarkable consensus on the Wilmington Town Board. Okay, great, moving on. Moving right along. Yes, I know. I'm looking at it too. So what is, next on the agenda is skipping it for the 13th meeting in a row, moving on to number 8. Just on the logo thing, I did have a good conversation with the director of the Essex County Arts Council today, but we're not going to discuss this. We've been pushing this off possibly since January, and we're pushing it off yet again. So moving on, authorizing the seasonal rental of portable restrooms. And would someone like to make this motion?
I'll make it.
Is there a second?
Yes, second.
Thank you. Discussion. Okay, this will be a roll call vote.
Hannah,
Yes.
Darren,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Randy,
Yes.
carried all in favor.
I have one question on that though.
Okay.
Was there not some discussion about moving one from somewhere or whatever?
That you can just ask them to do that though, right?
The resolution addresses this. But yeah, they said that the one at the park and the one at the Visitors Bureau didn't get much use, I believe is what they said.
Can't you move one up to the pool where the people like swim? You know, in that parking lot,
We could.
Not a bad
across the
idea.
road from there. I mean, they get a lot of people there.
Yep. There is one at the Flume Trailhead.
Well, I know, but that's
You're-
across the
And
road.
you're crossing road and with kids and everything else.
If the board wants that, then I'm
I
certainly,
think the only thing we'd have to do there is we have to get permission from the state
Mhm.
because it's not town land.
Plow it and do a whole bunch of other things with that area.
It wouldn't hurt to just notify the state that you're planning on doing that. If they don't have no problem with it.
does anyone remember the process the town went through to put the one at the trailhead?
You'll know that we did.
I think we had discussed with DEC or somebody just to double check that there wasn't an issue.
They put them up going to Placid, like in the pull-offs and stuff. I mean, what's
No, I know. It's
like
just,
by the monument, there's like a handicapped one, or like a big one, you know.
this is no problem. This is a situation where figuring out who to even ask is.
Yeah.
Right. And what forms we fill out. And
Well, maybe by next year you'll have permission to put them in the parking lot.
But then again, if you just put one in there, if they have a problem with it, I'm sure.
You'll know who
they'll
to
get in touch
contact
with
at
you.
that point.
Yeah, then I'll learn how to get a hold of. Well, this gives me discretion, so we can continue this conversation, but this puts one at the Three Sisters, the entrance to the Flume trail system, and the dam. And it gives me discretion to put another one somewhere.
I don't think it really matters at that point. It's as long as we have approved them, then we can put them wherever.
Yeah, but yeah,
The one at the Visitors Bureau was to stop so many people from going inside.
Yeah, who's gonna use a porta potty when you can go inside and use a real bathroom?
They complained. I don't know. May have been Colin, I don't remember who, but someone, whoever was working there at the time was complaining about it.
It didn't get a lot of use.
I think this is a completely different discussion, but I think we'll just move on, probably. Okay. This last resolution, I would like to, okay. Would someone like to make this motion?
I'll make this motion.
Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you. Discussion. They asked me explicitly for a donation from the town, and they said that the town of Jay donates.
Do you know how much?
No, I'm not talking, I'm not thinking of, I'm thinking probably 500 at the most, 250 would be fine. I'm not thinking a huge number. I'm sure Jay donates more than that.
Okay.
They asked, I think that this website does get a ton of use, and, I think it's definitely worth at least talking about the town supporting it. So,
Do you know if there are other towns that donate?
other than Jay?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No, I don't.
I think they cover a pretty good size area. I mean, I think they cover Keene,
They do.
you know,
Chesterfield, Keysville.
yeah.
Yep, they definitely do. As far as whether other towns donate, they only said Jay. So I think if other towns donate, they would have mentioned that to me when they were asking for a donation.
I'll make a resolution to do $500.
Cool.
Okay.
Great. Any further discussion? Okay. All in favor? Good idea.
No, it's good.
Roll call.
Hannah?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Randy?
Yes.
Carried all in favor.
Public comments. Oh, shoot. I'm sorry, Nicole. Oh, man. We should discuss this. And when you were thinking of this, how long were you thinking it would take? Like, don't rush, but what is a rough estimate?
Well, I mean, I just sort of threw stuff together because I didn't really know what you were going to ask me. But
Why don't we just save it for another time, but have Nicole really quick, just give an overall overview and then move forward from there.
More
So,
specific questions.
Yep.
Because I do hate to have you been here for 2 hours without going through what you were here for. So,
tell us the
We,
state of the
we
town.
can take 10 minutes to talk about this.
I mean, all in all, I felt the AFR went really well. Things were looking pretty good. We do have some fund balance coming forward from the 2025 budget, and that we can decide what we want to do with. A couple little things I, just wanted to touch on, like streetlights and electricity in the water fund. We barely made it. We just gotta keep an eye on it. As we know, the electricity costs are rising ridiculous. Another item I pointed out myself, the parks expenses, we overspend that budget line every single year. We probably need to think about putting more budget money into that going forward. Health insurance, we were under on every fund, which is great. Couple little things that, we got in as revenues that we don't normally get. They're not budgetable items because you don't know. But those are contributing for the fund balances that are gonna come out of 2025. And I just want to point out as well, the bulk of the highway fund balance is due to the fact that the state DOT, when they pay their snow and ice contracts, sometimes they're late, sometimes they're early, so it kind of screws up your budget that way.
but we're not under, so it's good.
We're not under, but it can sometimes give you a false impression that, oh, we have a lot of fund balance. The bulk of it is because of that.
Correct terminology, fund balance for the last year or budget surplus? What is the right way to?
It's fund balance.
Okay. So excluding highway, what is the fund balance from 2025?
I'm gonna have to refer to Laura for that because her terminology was a little different than what I thought she meant.
If I did the math correctly, just give me 1 second, I gotta find it. So general fund, $198,336 in surplus. The highway, which is overinflated, but $273,289. And then the water, 87,475.
Those all seem like really, really inflated numbers.
Probably sales tax on STRs, we got money from that. STR fees, it's more revenue, right? It's not that we spent less, it's we got more.
It was both.
Yeah, I mean, if I had had more time, I could have done like an actual comparison of, you know, what was budgeted, whatever, but, for the most part, yes, it's more revenue sided.
I know,
There
but
were line items that we did not go over on, which is great.
I look at like water, for example, and the expenses don't change that much from year to year. We know pretty accurately what that is,
He did a lot of water taps. That would change that. That would.
not by 87,000.
What about the?
That
fact
would be 87 water taps.
We did increase the water rents, and so that helped
Right,
out.
but that was, we put that in the budget because we know exactly what that is. If we increase water rents from 100 to 120, we know how much that's gonna be. It's not like it's a mystery. So to seem that we have $87,000 surplus in 1 year, I don't understand how we could have possibly had that much surplus.
The health insurance was lower. There was more money in the interest-bearing account, and there was something else. I promise you, these numbers are not from my head. It's from the paper. I'll email it to you.
I'll look through the paper myself. I have it.
This is a giant project, right? And it seems like it's a new thing that you didn't have to do 10 years ago. Did you have to do this 10 years ago?
No, you always had to do an annual
Okay.
report. The state has changed their website. The way they used to call it an AUD, now it's an AFR, annual financial report. It's a giant process.
Was it easier in the past? Was it more simple? Yeah. This is, yeah. It takes most of the first 4 months of the year. It's a giant part of your weekly workload. So I will put this on the agenda for the next meeting and have a more specific discussion.
Or saying that, Laura. Well, not to put you on the spot, but you said your numbers are significant, or different than Laura's, or interpreted. Do you have numbers that you came up with?
Well, what I have are the actual fund balances that are showing on the annual report, and you can find them yourself in the annual report that I gave you.
Okay, and should we basically take the fund balance from this year and the fund balance from last year, subtract the difference, and that basically would give us?
Perhaps. I think it's a little more complicated than that.
To be continued.
Thank you for your hard work.
Yep. Well, you enjoy it.
I do enjoy my work.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
No,
Thank you,
I have one
Nicole.
more thing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay, public comment.
Okay, when we left the last meeting, I said that I was going to submit the complaints about NICEAG to the commission, Public Service Commission. I did do that, and so there is I think it's called a case, so it's a matter number, case number. I can give that to anybody who would like it. It's so the secretary contacted me, and we have a case on filed on the 23rd of April, and so you can reference it. It's you go to the Public Service Commission, and the case number is 26-00805, and it's 25 or more customers complaining against NICEAG, and that is for the town of Wilmington. So I forgot to mention that. That was thanks for mentioning the electricity bill.
Thanks for doing that.
Yeah.
Can you forward that to me?
Sure.
So I can put it in the file?
Public comment?
Other comments? Cliff?
Just one question, going back to the dredging of the river.
Yep.
You said that we could possibly do 100 yards a year on our own. Are you meaning like town employees rent the proper equipment and do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something, I don't have any specific, I don't have a specific vision, but what I do know is that if it's going to be done, we are going to have to do it. And, you know, I do still want to create the committee, and I do have an idea for people I think would be effective on that committee. I haven't even talked to Lou about it because Lou is ill. I've got a list of things to talk to Lou about. So I don't have anything planned out at all, other than the fact that we have to do it somehow, if it's going to be done. Please.
Just make it. Randy had a study done once, and you have access to that somewhere.
Yep.
And it said the amount of volume of sediment that's in there.
Right.
And it was something ridiculous. So let's just say 7,500 yards or something along those lines, maybe 10, I don't know. If we do 100 yards a year, it's gonna be 75 years before we even make a dent in it. So, I mean, we have to be realistic about it because we might get 100, we're taking out 100 yards a year, but we may be getting 100 yards a year.
Yeah.
So,
yep. And I don't even necessarily mean 100 yards. I mean, like I just said.
I know, I'm just saying, that's something we have to think about because they must even have a study that, all right, it's accumulating at the rate of X amount per year. And if we don't at least meet that, then we're still going backwards.
But we're going backwards even faster if we're not. You know, big picture, what I will say is the town did used to do it. The town employees did used to do it prior to the creation of the APA. It was done every year. And it hasn't been done in, let's say, 50 years, something like that. And so now here we are without the state's not coming to the rescue, I think is the only thing I want to say. We have to figure it out. If we want to deal with it.
What?
Permits are gonna be crazy.
We did get I know. I mean, heck, to have a children's summer camp is.
Crazy.
How did Jay pay for that when they did their river? And how did, whoever pay for that machine that was sitting in the river down on Pendleton Road?
They did it after the floods, and for a while there after the floods, you had permission to go into the river without doing all the baloney and make corrections.
Well, let's hope for a big flood.
We don't get flooded, so we kind of love things out. Randy at one point did get, remember he took those weeds out.
Yeah,
Where, like,
that's what
where
I
the
was
swing
thinking.
is.
Better handicap.
Yeah, no, it was up further, it's up where the swing is and walking trail. We dug all that out to get rid of those weeds that we knew would eventually come back, because it was turning into a little swamp.
Yep.
He did get permission to do that.
I saw that in the file. I did see that.
Because we lowered the river down and drew a little bit out of there a couple times.
Yeah.
As long as we didn't touch any type of water, it was permitted.
Well, maybe that's the way we're gonna go, is lower the river as much as we possibly can in the fall and not touch the water. I did mean to mention, but this is obviously for another day, but I did want to mention, Anna Reynolds did mention like how Marcy Dam looks now without Marcy Dam. It's like a meadow with a ravine in the middle. And that's what this will look like if our dam is taken out.
It won't look good.
There will be nothing, you know, I've talked to people about the idea of taking out the dam, and it is instant sadness. They get so sad when I tell them that is what the freshwater center wants done. It was incredible how sad people got, how quickly. And they understand that in the Office of Community Resources, because Wilmington is not, there was a similar situation in either Ticonderoga or Crown Point. And Anna Reynolds was like, they want the pond. I said, yes, they want the pond. You know, it's the same in Crown Point. The people want the pond. They want the dam left alone.
I just consider it a lake. It's like Everest.
I corrected her, but I'm just saying her exact quote was, they want the pond. Because she's been going through this in Crown Point, whatever, Ticonderoga. Yep. Yeah, so think about a meadow with a ravine in the middle of it, and that's, that's what it will have. Motion to adjourn?
I got something.
Okay,
I may have missed it, because I've missed a meeting or two. Back to the plow, snow plow. What happened with the Eddie meeting one where his basically unrepairable again?
I can speak on that. So the plow that is on John's truck that is still working and serviceable is going to go on, this is Darren.
Well, that's, because that wasn't discussed earlier.
Right. So that truck is going to lose the plow and the plow will go on Eddie's truck. And then when Eddie gets a new truck, he'll get a new plow and a new truck all in one. And Eddie has, and I asked Eddie if this was a slight to him and he said absolutely not. So he gets it. He'll just get a new combo when he gets his new.
Because a little bit ago, you guys were talking like he'd have two plows and if he's gonna be giving up one.
Right. So he's,
Okay.
yeah.
other comments or questions? Thank you all for coming.
Adjournment.
Yeah, for coming.
Somebody's gonna make it.
I'll make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Yes.
Barb,
Thank you.
please note in the minutes, Barb supports the adjournment. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
Including Barb.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I actually, yeah.
Thank you. I hope you got Barb for the third.
Oh, she can't technically get.
I know.
I was gonna say something, but didn't want to prolong.
This conference will now be recorded.
The
Well,
dredging is,
Can we wait until Ron stops recording, because I have a lot of opinions. Because there are cons, and I'm gonna fight whoever at the Water Association told you there's no environmental damage, because that's untrue. Perhaps there's no